and you are all very wise for tuning in to another episode of Good Guy, Bad Guy. Daniel, good morning, buddy.
How you doing, Chael? Pete,
Never
we're
better,
in New York City. Hey.
Still famous and still rich. Every day is kind of a good day when you're Chael.
Yeah, I would
I
imagine.
mean, if you really wanted an answer to the question.
I did.
What is it that could be wrong?
It's one of those times again. Remember, we've spoken about this time and time again, where you ask me how I'm doing when you really don't want an answer.
Just means hello.
Yeah, it just means hello. We have done this time and time again. Hey, hi, Chael. How was your day? Don't really care.
Sure.
I'm just saying hi. Let's start the show.
Let's move right into what I want to talk about.
So, interesting that these guys are laying up on the scaffolding there, though. Seems a bit dangerous.
Yes.
That seems a bit dangerous to be a picture.
Random thought? That's
random thought. It popped on my head. I saw it. In terms of danger, a guy that was proven to be very dangerous last weekend was Della Maddalena.
Wow.
Became the welterweight champion of the world, beating Belal Muhammad. Unbelievable, Jack. Congratulations. But ultimately, the big story is that sets up a fight against the pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the world, Islam Makhachev. Islam versus Jack. But by getting Islam versus Jack, we don't get Islam versus Ilia. What's the bigger fight?
Well, I like the parity with Jack. I mean, one thing that Islam's done a great job of is cleaning out that division. We're talking about putting back in there with Charles. We're talking about there, and it was even signed to put it back in there with Sarukian. Once you're doing rematches, in fairness, if an athlete thinks, hey, I've done my time, I can listen to that. Now, Ilia was some new parity, but it will all be new parity if Islam is to go up to 170 pounds. So I can't just compare, the Ilia fight or the Jack fight. I have to look at a broad landscape. The only thing that's bothering me is if right now Islam is saying he is not going to relinquish the 55-pound title, that he's going to defend them both. And that just simply is not true. He might believe it's true, but no fighter in the world is going to cut weight when they don't have to.
Chael, that's the thing. That's the thing. Once you get that heavier belt, there is no more going down. The only person to do that was the great Amanda Nunes, because she was able to go up very rarely. But Islam wrote this after Jack won the belt. Time to become a double champion. Inshallah, let's go. Chael, Islam said, time to become a double champ. Last week, I swear, dude, I was beating the drum. I went everywhere, almost giving the UFC props in regards to, let's not tie up two divisions. Yep. If we got a champion that wants to go up, vacate. It felt like that is what we were doing. After Ilia went up, he had to give up the belt at 145. The moment those guys started fighting, Volkanovski and Lopez started, he's not the champ anymore. It felt like Islam was going to have to do the same thing. But then, not only does Islam come back and say, I'm not giving the title, in the green room, you told me Dana said he's not taking the belt off of Islam. So then what are Ilia and Charles fighting for? The interim championship?
And that's what I'm wondering, too. Like, there is room within these statements. As I try to reconcile two statements, one being, we're not going to strip Islam. Two being, Ilia Topuria's next fight is going to be a title fight. If I try to reconcile those, there has to be room for somebody misspoke. For this was lost in translation. We are dealing with three different languages here, but either way, this is what the quote said. This is what the MMA media put out. And that does mean, to your question, that if Ilia is going to fight for a title, it must be an interim championship. But you only create an interim championship in the absence of an undisputed champion. If Islam is well, if he's healthy, if he's here and licensed, you don't have a...
But he's going up.
That's right. You don't have a interim title. You do what they did with Ilia Topuria, which is you take one belt off him and open up a new opportunity. I really hope that this gets stared at a little bit closer, because Islam's an honest man. He's saying, I'm going to go back to 155. I'm not calling him a liar. I'm saying he's not aware of what he's not aware of. Nobody cuts weight if they don't have to.
They don't have to. Like, so you take a look at these two, right? And for me, it's this one. It's Della versus Islam Makhachev is the bigger fight. Della Maddalena, by becoming the champion last weekend, is now the only UFC male champion, or only UFC champion under 30 years old. That is a crazy stat. Islam 33, 27-1 versus 18-2. 14 finishes for Della, 17 for Islam, 18 fight win streak for Della Maddalena, and 15 fights for Islam Makhachev. Islam's 15 in the UFC, Jack 18 overall. When you look at this matchup, right? Della having the fight with Belal Muhammad last weekend seems to be the perfect fight before the fight against a guy like Islam. Because you got to imagine, Islam's going to wrestle him. Islam is going to be the guy that's going to want to take him down. He's going to pressure him. What does Belal do? Pressure, wrestle, try to ground him. So it prepares Della Maddalena. I felt like Jack Della Maddalena last weekend showed a level that I didn't know he had, if I'm being completely honest. I didn't know he had the ability to stop Belal from taking him down for 3 rounds before he got taken down in the 4th and the 5th. I didn't know that his boxing was as sharp as it was. He looked phenomenal, and honestly, when being objective, as I can be with Islam being a buddy of mine and a close friend, this is a very difficult fight for him.
Yeah.
Jack Della, I'm speaking of.
Harder than we knew it was. I was
Yes.
wondering that from Islam's standpoint as well. You know, Islam had worked out a lot with Belal, and we don't know what happened there, but both those guys were pretty honest to say that Islam was a little bit in front of Belal. But Jack, there's a pretty good gap
What's his
there.
name?
Is Belal Muhammad, Jack
Jack.
Della Maddalena.
You know his name now,
Jack
don't
Della
you?
Maddalena.
You know his name.
JDM, and he deserves that.
You were calling him Jack DeLama.
Man, I tell you what.
You were calling him Jack DeLama.
I remember,
but-
Daniel, I remember the first time I saw the Jack fight, though. I remember sitting down and telling our audience, man, this guy's special. This guy's something else.
Yeah.
He wasn't the #1 contender. He wasn't the top-ranked guy. He fell
Yep.
into this fight when a couple of other things fell through, but this is what dreams are made of. And one thing we did learn about Jack in his fight with Belal, Jack is better than we knew that he was. And
Yep.
I would be very curious what Islam saw when he watched that, because my guess is Islam kind of went, this guy's a little better than I thought he was.
But he doesn't care.
No,
That's
he
the
won't,
thing
he
about
won't
Makhachev.
detour him.
Makhachev is kind of like, well, he looked pretty good here, but
Sure.
he'll feel like he can beat him because he's #1 pound for pound. But Chael, yes, you remember his name after that performance.
That's right.
You know what's most impressive about Jack Della, though? On the Contender Series, he had like a hard fight.
Yep.
He wasn't like a guy that just blasted through his opponent. He had a really hard fight in that Contender Series to get it. So, Jack Della, right? He becomes the 4th Oceanic fighter, joining Adesanya, Whitaker, and Volkanovski. He's a very even-keel guy. The only time, Chael, he broke character, and he took the stone face down, was when I asked him about that. Becoming an Australian champion like Volk and Whitaker, I saw him kind of like, it seemed like it hit him in that moment. That, wow, I actually did it. What do you make of that? That stoic, that always calm demeanor. And then what about his coaches? Like, Coach, give him the belt back. I had to go take the belt. I'm like, give him his belt back, Coach. I get it. Everybody wants to hand the belt to the coach. But come on, Jack. Put that thing on your shoulder, man. Celebrate.
I got to tell you, I do think that one of the people that have been surprised at the success of Jack is Jack. I do think he's overperforming in many ways. I mean, I can remember his fight with Kevin Holland, which wasn't that many fights ago, and he was in there and he's trying to find his groove, and his rhythm was a little bit off. And I just share with you, each time he fought, he'd keep getting better. That was the story of the Adesanya. That was the story of Alex Pereira. They would fight, and you think that you saw some holes, but they would get better. They would fix, and they would plug holes in the practice room. And when you do watch Jack consistently fighting better, it does make you wonder how high the ceiling could be for this guy.
Chael, a split decision with Kevin Holland, right, in that fight, and beating Belal Muhammad in the way that he did. He won 4 rounds on one judge's scorecard. I mean, even though we had some terrible judging last weekend, did you see the judging in Montreal?
I did.
Man, that was crazy. One dude scored a fight 30-27 for the dude that lost.
For the guy that lost, I know.
But how do you score 30-27 and the guy actually lost, but because of you, a terrible judge's card, it was crazy.
And Daniel, that's not even the problem. The problem that big guys like you and I have is that there's no accountability for that. Just tell us. Bring us. If a fighter does something, he will have a hearing before he can get a license. Just bring that judge in and let us know what he thought that he saw. No problem.
Dominic Cruz wants to put their faces on the screen with their card.
Sure.
But Dominic Cruz is crazy. He might attack him. Hey, Valentina Shevchenko. Defended her belt again.
Dominic is crazy.
He's crazy.
That is true.
Valentina defended her championship again last weekend. But that brings me to the next question. Karine Silva looked amazing, but she doesn't have the name recognition. Are we now at a point where we do Zhang Wei Li versus Valentina, or do we just go on and do the next #1 contender, Karine Silva? I want this, if I'm being honest. I mean, this is what I want to see.
I would definitely listen to them.
Natalia Silva.
Natalia did look very good.
I call it Karine Silva.
Sure.
Natalia Silva.
But can I tell you the problem, Daniel? The problem is that we're having this conversation. The problem is that Valentina Shevchenko got the bully pulpit and she used it to create nothing. I got told off by Valentina. She told me off on social media, but she was responding to me attacking her for having more fights in UFC history that are in co-main events, for having more successful
said
world
something to you about
title
that last
fight.
week?
Yes. She had more world title defenses in co-main events. And so I'm just encouraging her. You come out of this fight with nothing more than you went in. We don't know who your next opponent is going to be. We don't even know what weight class. And it's your job to get that dialogue started. We should have a pretty good idea of where you want to go that you think is going to draw. And right now, the fact that you're asking me between two different weight classes, two girls that neither one called her out and she didn't call them out, that's their problem. If you would like to do something exciting that the world cares about, grab a microphone and tell us what it is.
So, Chael, what happened? What did Valentina say to you?
She said to me, okay, there was a rumor going around that she was a spy at one point, but I love this rumor. But I love it. She speaks 7 languages. She's good with the unarmed combat, but it turns out that even with a gun, she's trained military. Her mother was a fighter. Her sister's a great fighter. There was just a rumor that she is actually
And you said the rumor.
a spy. But, well, I said it not that I believed it. I'm saying, what great folklore. Like, this is a thing that legends are made of, and that she had this mystique about her. And now she's won more fights and been on TV more times, and she's sold more tickets, but none of them are records. If you're fighting in co-main event spots for world titles, you're doing something wrong. If Belal Muhammad ever walks out after you do on a card, you're doing something wrong. If Jack Della, who nobody thought should even be in the spot, if his music hits the speakers after yours does, you're doing something wrong. And I was just encouraging Valentina to tell us who you want to fight, and most importantly, why do you want to fight them? That's a small encouragement by me.
I know,
and
what
here
did
we
she
are
say to you?
today, and we don't know. She said, I am not a spy. I'm a nice girl. I don't do call-outs. And then she gave me like a few different emojis, which I appreciate. I actually appreciated hearing from Valentina. But it doesn't get me any closer to telling you what should be next for her.
Yeah, it's a very weird thing because
Do I make a fair point?
You do. You
Okay.
do make a fair point. You're my partner. I'm always going to back you.
I appreciate that.
You know, I got
Yeah.
you. But she's the best, man. She just constantly keeps showing that she's the best in the world. That was a hard fight for her
Yes.
last weekend.
She stayed
And she
hungry.
got through it. She's still hungry for
Yeah.
it. She appreciates it more than anyone. She told me the reason I appreciate this thing, the reason I love this so much is because I had to win 17 world titles to get here. I will never take this for granted. And that just resonated with me because now you have so many avenues into the UFC, right? Contender, you have the Ultimate Fighter, you can get in the other way, you can get in on short notice. There's a lot of ways in. Back when Valentina was coming up, there weren't as many. So she's still so grateful to be in the position that she's in, and I respect her tremendously for it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's amazing, dude. I won 17 world titles to get my first chance to fight and try to get this belt. How could I possibly take it for granted? I don't even know what they're doing with those. I don't know what they're doing with those rubies anymore because she's got too many now to fill in the thing. She's got more than that. Okay, Jon Jones.
Okay.
Bro, we keep talking about this dude.
I know.
So Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall were supposed to fight. Last week we spoke about it a little bit, and we spoke about why in the world is it becoming almost an afterthought? Tom Aspinall spoke about it and goes, he'll fight whenever. And he seems to be annoyed. He's like moving on from this, like, I'm not going to keep waiting for this guy. I need to fight. He said Jones is probably waiting for more money because Jones recognizes a guy with his skill set, a guy with his level, his size. At this point, he probably wants to be compensated because he recognizes the dangers for it. Tom's fed up. But this is a very odd situation we're talking about. We got an interim champion defending the interim title.
Look, John tells him, don't touch me. Did you see that?
Yeah, John don't like that. But look at how big Tom is, though. Like, that's why Jon Jones is like, yo, man, pay me more money. Look at the size of Tom Aspinall.
Yeah. I like that John said, don't touch me, man. You got to live the gimmick.
But John's a dog, man.
Yeah,
John
he's a
really
dog.
is a dog.
Sure.
Like, if you challenge Jon Jones, he will step up to the challenge.
Be ready to fight Jon Jones.
Be ready to fight Jon Jones.
All right. Can I tell you this? Because this is jumping all over, and this fight is getting smaller. Generally, this just adds fuel to the flame, and fights get bigger and bigger when one side denies it. But that's just not what's happening here. Now, I suspect that isn't happening here because the audience isn't convinced that they could ever get that. But Tom Aspinall himself is now coming out and saying, move on from Jon. What Tom's not doing is demanding to be the undisputed champion, and that does surprise me. They told him the night that he got the interim belt, and he's looking around going, what do we need one of those for? And they say, in case we can't get our undisputed champion to come back to the table. Well, they're now telling us the undisputed champion's not coming back to the table, so which is it? Are we defending interim belts? Are we stepping up to undisputed belts? And it doesn't seem like anybody's really grabbing a hold of that yet, and that's usually a sign. That's usually a sign by the UFC of, guys, slow down. We think we got this. We know a little more than you guys do, and we're the ones bartering this negotiations. Slow down. And I do tend to think that is where the UFC's at. I think that they got this fight a heck of a lot closer than the audience is aware.
Well, Air just said that Hunter met with Tom last night, so this is Air right? If this proves to be wrong, then it'll just be you and Aaron that's just spreading false information all over the place. I'm just repeating what she told me.
What would Hunter have to talk to Tom about if the fight's got to be Jon? Right.
Yes, about trying to make the fight.
Right.
But I will tell you this, though. Right now, Jon is in Thailand for the next month.
Sure.
Because he's filming a reality show with Nate Diaz, who, Chael, by the way, was supposed to be me. They offered me that position.
Oh, really?
To be the coach opposite of Jon Jones in Thailand.
Ooh.
But I can't spend a month in Thailand with Jon Jones.
Yeah.
Or spend a month in Thailand, just in Thailand for a month. Why would I want to do that?
You opposite Jon, that's good TV, though. And Nate will do a great job.
Of course. But yeah, him and Nate were over there talking about how Islam is a great young fighter and he's got a lot to accomplish. Like, how ridiculous is that? Oh, he's got a long way to go.
All right.
He doesn't have a long way to go.
Can I steer you back just to one thing?
Yes.
If I heard you right, you said that Hunter was talking to Tom about
Aspinall.
Okay, but talking about a fight or the fight? The fight meaning, okay, so not necessarily Jon Jones.
I don't know. You don't put me in a position where you're going to make me lie, Chael.
I understand. But if you were to guess, I don't think that Hunter's got to go see Tom face to face to give Tom what he wants. He has to go see him face to face if
to
Hunter
convince him to fight somebody
new.
else.
So it's for somebody new.
Yeah.
Likely to be surreal.
Okay.
I think it's likely to be surreal.
Are you ready to make this? Because you've been right a lot here lately.
Yeah, I tell you,
ready?
There's not enough heavyweights that have stuck their nose in this business. There's not enough heavyweights that could fog a mirror. I don't think we fall to surreal because we want surreal. I think he's the only guy standing there, and that is meant as an insult to the entire heavyweight division. Ooh. They really have done a poor job.
Yeah, those guys have not stepped up enough, especially knowing there's an interim champion that defends the interim championship. You got to be calling that guy's name. Okay, so another reason I can't go to Thailand and spend a month with Jon Jones is because we still say stuff like this about each other. Jon Jones said, I believe I beat Daniel Cormier at heavyweight worse than I beat him at light heavyweight. You cheated. I feel like my speed has transferred over in a way that his hasn't. I think I beat him up pretty worse. Oh my God, is that a sentence?
Worse? I beat him up pretty worse.
Is that really a sentence?
Is this
I beat him up pretty
Jon?
worse. They miswrote that because okay, maybe that was Jon saying that. I beat him up pretty much. I beat him up pretty worse at heavyweight. I kick harder. I know he punched harder as a heavyweight, but I kick a lot harder. You all see what my kicks did to him in the second fight. So yes, okay, that's Jon. First off, I don't know.
Shots fired.
But yeah, I'm 46 years old, bro. I don't fight no more, and I can't fight. He would kill me. He would literally beat the shit out of me. But anyhow, he would beat me up pretty worse. But there was a time when I was an active.
Look at Schaller. got bounced.
Schaller got thrown through
and people thought it was Anik.
There was a lot of danger. Hey guys, these were the Wild Wild West days of the UFC. We got a couple young people in here working for the UFC with us. They're sitting here. They're so fresh faced and young. They weren't here whenever this was.
No, that's
our
right.
era of the UFC was the real deal. We were fighting on stage. We were fighting in the street. This was the real UFC.
Yes,
right
no,
here.
that could have been Dre in the middle of that, where Schaller went down and Anik got blamed for it. That could have been Dre right here.
He wouldn't have been able to handle that. He'd have ran in opposite direction.
Did you or Jon, when you were on the ground, did one of you bite the other one?
No.
I'm thinking of the Mike Tyson, Lennox
They
Lewis.
jumped me a little bit. Him and his manager jumped me.
Yeah.
They were like punching.
Malky?
They jumped me, dude.
Malky touched
and
you?
My boxing coach didn't help.
My God. I didn't
threw
know
my
Malky
shoe
was involved in this.
Malky jumped me, man.
Wow.
I know he did. But Chael,
respect to Malky.
He actually said it. He was like, I wouldn't fight Daniel at heavyweight. This was when I was actively fighting.
Sure.
And like, again, Jon and I's rivalry is dead. It's over. Like, I don't fight anymore. But come on, man. What are we doing here, Chael?
Some things don't die. I don't know if that rivalry's going to die.
But you like it that way.
I respect it because Jon wasn't playing. Like when Jon actually gave the breakdown of Daniel hits harder, but I kick a little better. When he started actually giving analytics, that means he still fantasizes about you, partner. Hey. So when you say it's dead, nah, man, let it live on. Even if it's in his mind and guys' hearts like mine, let it live on. Let us have fun.
Chill. He kicked hard, though. Boy, did he kick hard.
And awkward.
He would knee me and he would kick me. I was like, ugh.
Did he ever give you that oblique kick?
No, he never got me with that one. We trained really good for that.
Because he takes that heel and he drives it right on the guy's thigh.
In the body.
Yeah.
That was where it hurt. Hey, Chael.
Yeah.
Sometimes we do videos on our own platforms and you never know which one is just going to be absolute gold. I learned that you, Chael, you've played basketball in jeans, you've played football in jeans, you wrestle in jeans, and you're still undefeated. Let's take a look at this. You go to the University of Iowa. Right there. Come on, guys. Roll that video.
Caleb Young, 3-time All-American.
Let's go, Young. Oh, you got it. You got it. You got it.
15 gone.
You're not mad at me. It's a hidden skill.
Do it. Sore? Yep. And you regret it.
Oh, the whole thing. Yeah, no, the whole thing was a bad idea.
Chael. He couldn't even get started, Chael. P, look at that defense. You gave him the lock.
What do you think of this pushing up? You like that? I mean, so many guys, they go flat. They say roll the lock. Why? Why roll the lock? He can't get his knee under your hip to get started if you're pressed back. When's the last time you seen a guy in a collegiate
Chael,
match
that's
get rolled
actually
over
a
in a
really
gut
good.
wrench?
Chael, I'm still teaching freestyle in my academy right now, and we usually go flat to try to roll the lock. That is
Daniel, there
that's
is
good.
nowhere in life
Was
that
it
your
tight?
toes, knees, chest, and penis can be on the mat, and you're acting like you're defending yourself. Truly to God. It's the same as MMA with a guard position. I'm going to lay on my back with my legs spread. It's like, okay, if you're in a bad position, go ahead and take it, but don't go around telling the world that you're actually doing something.
Chill.
You want to fight a guy? Push up and fight him.
Was it tight?
Yeah,
the
it was
gut wrench
tight. Yeah.
The gut wrench was tight.
It was tight, and then, I had the right to go without a shirt on. But so when the shirt goes on, now it's dry.
It's hard
So,
with
yeah,
a shirt.
man. Yeah, and Caleb was strong.
But
Caleb
you
was
went
strong
in there
for sure.
to the University of Iowa, it's like a dream at times for wrestlers to be in that room with the Brands boys. It was weird though. Like Terry was right next to you guys.
Yep.
Tom's off in the distance. Why is Tom off in the distance yelling? Gabe Arnold's out. It's like Arnold's over 200. They're making fun of Arnold.
Oh, they were having fun.
So wait, why is Tom so far away?
Do you know that Sam Henson told Terry Brands one time at Pan American Camp, pound for pound, I'm the toughest guy on this team? And Terry said, what did you say? And Sam said it again, pound for pound, I'm the toughest guy on this team. And Terry said, oh, no, you aren't. And I don't know what happens after that. That's where the story leaves off. I can't go on with my life not knowing what happened between Henson and Brands in that moment.
Talk about Sammy?
Yes.
I'm asking.
Sam Henson told Terry Brands, I'm the toughest guy on this team. And Terry said, no, you aren't.
Hey, Sammy the Bull was a tough old boy, though.
You got to find out.
Yeah, I will find out. Guys, no show on Thursday. This will be the only show of the week, so Chael and I get a vacation.
Do we still get paid?
Yes, that's
we do?
That's the craziest thing about a salary.
No
It's
show.
like we don't have to work and we still
Look
get
at
paid.
that.
Aren't you guys just so happy
Rich get
for us?
richer.
Hey, guys.
Just keep, go ahead.
It just keep giving. Can I wrap this? I mean,
it
you
up.
started every
wrap
week
it
now.
up. No,
All
tell
right,
them goodbye, tell them thank
guys,
you.
find us on YouTube,
Watch it where your shows are.
ESPN Plus,
Tell a friend.
everywhere
Send a fax.
that you get your podcast. You can see
Tell a
Chael and
pigeon.
I.